Welcome to the Mid-Michigan Business Wrap. I'm Michael Patrick Shields, and we have our panel of experts here in our Gillespie Group storefront studio. We'll be here till 9 o'clock today, till 10 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock now, and later in the program, the guest of honor will be the Lansing Mayor, Virg Bernero, who is the Democratic candidate for governor. He'll be right here in the studio with us, and he will be taking questions from our expert business panel. I presume business-related questions about his candidacy and what Governor Bernero, if he were elected, would do to help small business in the state of Michigan and spur the economy. Of course, the top of people's minds this morning, who will Mayor Bernero pick as a running mate, because the Democratic convention is coming up this weekend, and he's got to make an announcement today or tomorrow, and it looks like he's trying to find a business person to run with him. So it's ironic that Rick Snyder has picked a legislator, Brian Kelly, and the legislator, Mayor Bernero, is trying to pick a business person to sort of balance out their tickets. That's the way it seems to be shaking up anyway. We are in our downtown studio here, the Gillespie Group storefront studio on the Avenue of Michigan. Furniture provided by Corporate Office Interiors. You can go to corporateofficeinteriors.com today and get their design team to come to your place tomorrow. You can see us on YouTube if you go to youtube.com, and also you can hear the program again at spotlightmm.com, and you can find that all through michigantalknetwork.com as well. We have a Facebook page for the Mid-Michigan Business Wrap, and I'm going to tell you right now that whether you meet this panel of experts here in our studio or in the coffee house here attached to the studio, or if you call them up, they are more than welcome to answer your questions. They're happy to answer your questions. You're more than welcome to call them if you've got a question. Even if, let's say, you wanted to talk about the car business, but, maybe you didn't want a Hyundai. You could call Cheryl Freeborough or George Volman. You could call Scott Danik and Jim Trebilcock about the idea of financial planning. Scott Farragon from Cartridge World and Craig Godfrey, he's a CPA. All of these folks, even if you have business ideas, Gary and Peggy Doty, you just want to bounce something off of them. They're there for you via email or by phone, and you're getting to know them, certainly, because this is not just a radio show. It's a networking group, and they want to make a difference in the community, and that starts with one person. So don't ever feel shy about calling up one of our panelists and saying, I heard a thing or two about this and that. What do you think of this idea? They'd love to hear from you. Let's go around the table and hear from them right now so you recognize their voice as we go. And it's a round table right here in the middle of the studio, and we'll go from left to right.
Yep, I get to start first.
You
Ladies
do.
first.
Yes, right.
Cheryl Freeborough, Freeborough Automotive, Hyundai of Lansing. Happy to be here, and I parked a great Hyundai right outside the window now, so you can see it if you go to YouTube.
What is that car?
It's the Veracruz. It's the largest luxury crossover that Hyundai builds. Great navigation system. I'm addicted to the navigation system now because I can go anywhere and not get lost. So it's a great vehicle. Starts around $30,000, which is a great price as well, with some of the best gas mileages.
Veracruz.
Pardon?
It's a Veracruz?
Veracruz.
How do you spell that?
Vercruze.
Huh.
All one word.
Okay. Interesting name for a car.
It
It's
is.
a snazzy looking
They have
thing.
interesting names. Yes.
Do they?
Yeah.
What are some of the others?
Azera.
Uh-huh.
Well, the Sonata.
Uh-huh.
That's not too
Not too
different.
bad.
Accent's pretty similar. Equinox, not
Uh-huh.
Equinox. Oh,
Veracruz is that one
Veracruz,
out front
yes.
there. You sent me a message this week that I thought was interesting. I think this comes from Stephen Covey, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, I believe it does. And that second paragraph is really my saying. I didn't kind of make that
Oh,
clear.
you added this. You and Stephen
Yeah.
Covey are collaborating now, huh?
Well, he thinks like I do.
Okay.
So.
Let me read this to everyone if I can. Here's what she sent. Words from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. People who are truly effective have the humility and the reverence to recognize their own perceptual limitations and to appreciate the rich resources available through interaction with the hearts and minds of other human beings. Mm-hmm. That's really what we're doing here on this Mid-Michigan Business Wrap.
That is. And that's what I sent it because that's what I'm hoping whoever is running for whoever becomes governor will look at and think about. My part of it is I always tell people, hire people that are smarter than you.
Mm-hmm.
They'll only make you look good.
Mm-hmm.
And I get
listen
the
to
credit
them.
for the people that work for me, and hopefully they'll think that way too. Hire people that can bring things to you that you can make your business more successful.
Recognize your perceptual limitations and
Right.
appreciate the rich resources available through interaction with the hearts and minds of other human beings.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. It means, it's too, that, your everybody else's business at this table is not the car business, but that doesn't mean you don't have shared experiences.
Oh, no. No, your experiences in business are alike, truly. You all have the same kind of challenges. You know, the people that work for you, those kind of challenges, customer challenges, creating new business. How do you do that? What kind of advertising should you be doing? You know, what works? The book you gave me, In the Mirror, is a fabulous book because it really talks about branding yourself. And I think, and I've said this before, if I had branded the car, Saturn car, what would I be doing today? But it's all about branding yourself. And I think every business has that same challenge. And I think we all do it pretty well.
That's Cheryl Freeborough from Hyundai of Lansing and Freeborough Automotive Group. Next to her at the table, sir.
Next to her is Craig Godfrey with Godfrey Weisberg CPAs, and trying to enjoy the rest of our Michigan summer here before things wind down too much, and also helping clients plan for those increased income tax rates that are right now coming down the pike. So,
how soon?
The first part of next year.
Yeah. Next to Craig Godfrey.
Good morning, Michael Patrick. Scott Farragon with Cartridge World. Wanted to kind of touch on what you said about people giving other business people a call if there are people out there who are looking to either get into business or have business-related questions. I think bouncing ideas off of peers is a really good idea, or even talking to someone who is in business. I will speak for myself. I don't want to talk for everybody, but I am definitely more than happy to sit down and talk with somebody, whether they're looking to do something in the printer cartridge related business or something else, just about experiences like what Cheryl said, because you do have different challenges with employees, you have challenges with marketing, you have it never is, and
No.
It's surprising how similar, even though we are all in different industries, how we all have the same types of challenges.
How much of when you started your business with the 2 locations now in Okemos and the west side of Lansing, how much of what occurred was a surprise, according to your business plan? By percentage, let's say.
Percentage was a surprise. I think a lot of it was a surprise.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 75%.
75%.
To 80%, yes. You have this perception of how everything's going to roll out, how it's going to be great, and you don't realize a lot of the pitfalls that you're going to see when you come in, and the different angles that things will come at you, and it's really a learning experience.
Don't you think you're surprised every day, too?
You are surprised. Sometimes it's really good, and sometimes it's, are you kidding me? Really?
But these are the kind of experiences that we hope to share on this program every week, so that people who are thinking of starting a business or are in one now might hear about your surprise and then say, ooh, I can guard against that, or I can at least know what to do when it happens, and it won't be so much of a surprise.
Yep.
Generous to share that kind of knowledge with everyone, either on the radio or if they call you at Cartridge World.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. And in the third base seat, Scott Danick and Jim Trebilcock. Welcome to both of you.
Good morning. Jim Trebilcock from Trebilcock and Danick Financial, and I certainly agree with everything that the other panelists have echoed so far. One of the things that Scott and I have always done, if people want to talk to us, is we always do our first meeting with them at no fee, so they can come in and find out what we're all about, and we can find out what they're all about. So we're happy to do that, or just take phone calls.
And Scott, the wrinkle for you two is that you have a partnership that adds a whole new level of intrigue to your business, right? The two of you.
Well, we've been fortunate in that we haven't had a lot of intrigue over the years, meaning we have gotten along, especially on the major issues, at basically every step.
Wow.
So much so that I think it would be very difficult for either of us to consider having a different partner, just because it's gone as well as it has. Everyone we talk to that has had partnerships has given us a number of stories that we just sort of are very grateful that we've not run into yet. So
Yeah.
the big level stuff we've definitely agreed about.
I think it sounds like to me you're very rare, the two of you, that you can say that you haven't had a major disagreement. How long have you been partners?
Officially since 2000, that's when
Yeah.
we incorporated the business, but we've been actually working together since 94, 95, so it's been a number of years.
Most of the time when you hear about partner stories in business, it's usually a nightmare story.
Well, I think something that's fairly unique about us is that there's a great age difference between the two of us, and we've been able to bridge that generational gap in the things that we have to make decisions about. We have a great deal of cooperation. It's been very, very pleasant.
Is that interesting to look at it from different ages, different perspectives?
Yeah, I was just going to say, isn't there an advantage to having that age difference? Because I find that with the younger people come in, they have newer ideas. I have some older ideas, possibly,
Right.
but our ideas can mesh.
Well,
and I think there's an advantage to that.
There is an advantage in certain ways. The only time we ever run into a problem is when I give them quiet time.
Oh, okay.
One,
Go to his room
two,
for a while.
3, 4,
Yeah.
5. Oh, that's rich. Now, we may have a lieutenant governor who's 33 years old if Brian Calley runs with Rick Snyder and Rick Snyder gets elected. So there's a youth movement, to be sure. Lansing Mayor Verge Bernero, Democratic candidate for governor, will be with us shortly. He will take questions from our Mid-Michigan Business Wrap panel. Today, Craig Godfrey, Godfrey Weisberg, CPAs and Advisors, Scott Farragon from Cartridge World, Cheryl Freeborough from Hyundai of Lansing, and the Freeborough Automotive Group, and Scott Danick and Jim Trebilcock from Trebilcock and Danick Financial. Your calls are welcome, too, at 888-900-9966, 888-900-9966. If you have a business idea or a question, we're here for the rest of the hour in our Gillespie Group storefront studio on the Avenue of Michigan, across from the baseball stadium, attached to the Great Lakes Chocolate and Coffee Company. I'm Michael Patrick Shields, back in a flash.